Have you done, everybody? I think all most participants have done. Okay, now I'm going to start next session on the same topic, soft skill development, business communication by Dr. Garima Shrivastava, ma'am. Ma'am, please start the session.
Okay, thank you, Jyoti ma'am. Once again. So I have a answer to Suma's question in the next slide. Here we are going to discuss the various skills that the various factors that we can consider uh, as a point or a factor to be polished to turn our soft skills in a better way. So we have already discussed about these top 10 soft skills that we should continuously work on, and we should continuously see that which of these skills are lacking in us and try to develop these into ourselves. Then the very first one we have is the communication skill. So we need to understand communication, why communication is important. Now communication is important because in society or anywhere where we are moving, we are continuously giving information, sharing information, and this sharing of information regarding different topics or regarding different knowledge, this is done through communication. So if you are not a good communicator, if your communication skills are not good, so in that case you won't be able to present your ideas in the same way as you want. Say for example, suppose I'm having this particular rubber band of pink color. If I say I have a pink color rubber band, this is this you can say uh, is a good communication statement. But if we talk more precisely, it can be done in a more precise manner, like we can say I have a baby pink or a light colored pink rubber band. So there is a difference between pink and light pink. Similarly, when we present our ideas, we need to check that what are the different points that need to be focused, that need to be given extra energy or extra exaggeration. Then only our communication will be complete. So while presenting ourselves, the very first important factor to understand is that during our statements, what are the simple points that need to be exaggerated, that need to be given focus. So these points, if you have identified these points in your communication, you can give a pitch to them, you can give a strong voice to them, you can attach examples, you can attach various other issues with that particular point. Say for like example, we can say in primary classes, teachers show an apple to teach students that A stands for A, apple stands. So why is this important? Because A, if a person is just visibly seeing A on the board, he or she will not be able to understand it without that picture. That is why a picture or an example can be attached, so that I am able to exaggerate on the alphabet A, which is the very first alphabet of the and this alphabet way of your 26 alphabets. Similarly, if we see examples of entrepreneurship, suppose I have a particular idea in my mind and I have worked on this particular idea for a very long time, I have prepared my blueprint, but I am not able to present this idea as I want, it is there in my mind, to the person whom I intend to, then I won't be able to get the results. So if you are not able to present it, if you see that you are not able to give shape to your idea, then continuously work on it, so that you are able to work on your idea, and you are able to show it in a similar way as you want it. A key to effective communication skill is listening. Good listening skills will help you learn and respond correctly to the circumstances you have been presented with. So, to increase your to improve your communication skill, a very a good approach can be to increase your listening skills. So that is why we say that continuously read or continuously listen to the issues, listen to the topics that you are related to. So by doing that, it will continuously go into your mind, and you will try to respond, you will try to learn each and every aspect of that particular information, piece of information that you are searching. Then if we more and more point out on communication, we have two types of skills, that is verbal and non-verbal skills. Now if I get into deep of verbal and non-verbal skills, it will take a lot of time. So over here in a gist, I would just tell you what verbal and non-verbal skills are. Now when we talk about verbal skills, it is more of speaking, it is more of related to presenting yourself in words, while non-verbal skills are more related to your body language, the present, how you present yourself into the public or in the society. So for example, if I go for an interview, suppose go for an interview in an organization, I'm not expected to reach there in my lowers or in my trousers, in my t-shirts. Why? Because that is not an acceptable presentation style of an interviewee. There a specific set of formal uniform is required that you have to reach in. So of course that will be covered in your non-verbal skills. And verbal skills means whatever you are going to present, it should be accurate, it should be concise, it should be complete in itself. So for that you need to complete your knowledge. So as I said earlier, that hard skills are nothing without soft skills, both are complementary to each other. Similarly, if we talk about verbal and non-verbal skills, we need to check that these two things are also complementary to each other. So always be prepared, be confident to present yourself, your idea in front of the other people. A lot of business communication is now played out by email, so it is very important to know good business etiquettes and give instructions clearly and concisely. Now over here we have given a focus on business etiquette. Why? Because in this pandemic era, most of us are working in online mode. So in online mode, email etiquettes, the etiquettes to deliver, to write letters, the type of languages to write letters, to present yourself, different platforms. You need to understand about different platforms that are being used in the businesses these days. So all these are considered under the soft skills. You need to understand them. Then again, if you are still not working on internet, then you need to polish that particular area of yours, because coming 2 3 years or 5 years, you may be working online only. So there is a need to understand this networking, this new kind of environment that this pandemic has presented in front of us. So this environment needs some change in our attitude, it needs some change in our learning behavior. We need to understand and then respond in various different platforms that are coming up in the you can say virtual world in the business. Second, we can say self motivation, or your own motivation within yourself. Having a positive attitude and initiative to work well without around the clock supervision is a vital soft skill which an often employed. Now, self motivation means you are motivated in yourself. That means no other motivational factor. You require no one else to make you motivated. You are self motivated. You are positive enough. You definitely deal with different situations in a positive manner. You never look into negative aspects of your problems. So this will lead to more and more positivity in your life. It will lead to look into the problem from a different angle, because if you continuously look into a problem from a negative angle, you won't be able to find out proper solution or resolve your problem. So continuous you need to check. What you need to do is you need to check your problem from all areas, all kinds of you can say whatever is possible, all possible areas, to look into that problem and find all possible ways to find a solution. So for this, you can take help of other people. You can outsource different services from the different organizations to solve your problem. And if you have these soft skills or self motivation within yourself, you can have this within yourself. Then not only does it demonstrate reliability and commitment, but it also shows that you can fit efficiently into an organizational structure. So if you are motivated enough or you are self motivated enough, it will directly depict your qualities, two of your qualities, that is your reliability and your commitment. That means a person can rely on you, a person can trust you on your investment, on your idea. And of course, if you are self motivated, you are more and more committed towards your idea, you are more and more committed to fulfill the needs of an organization. So these two qualities, when they come into yourself, the people begin to trust you. The people who are there outside in the society, like your customers, your clients, they start relying on you. They start trusting your commitment towards your organization. So following key skills then demonstrate your motivation. The first one is positivity, your ambition to move ahead. That means you need to plan for at least 1 year. And if you could plan for nearby 5 years, then it is very, very good. Because most of us, if we have faced any of the interviews, the interviewer often asks, where do you see yourself in near 5 years, or in near future, near 1 year? So this answer will give a picture of your motivation, how motivated you are, or how ambitious you are to reach to that particular goal. So if I talk about just 6 months, that means I'm not having a goal. So I need to talk about at least 1 year, or near about 5 years. Because till 5 years I have fixed my goals. I have to I have to accomplish those goals. And by accomplishment of these goals, I will be able to earn productivity for my organization. So your plans will ultimately depict your commitment towards your organization. And this will be done through your initiative quality, the quality of being a proactive person in the organization. So if you are self motivated enough, you will be proactive, you will be more and more active to solve problems. You will be looking into different aspects of the organization beforehand. Like, you can foresee different problems that may come up in the organization through your self motivation. So if you can foresee your problems over there, you can bring up you can think of many solutions beforehand, before the problem even exists. Then the third one is the leadership. Is a soft skill you can show even if you are not directly managing others. Those with strong leadership skills will have ability to inspire others and lead teams to success. So, of course, leadership is an important soft skill. You can say it is an important aspect of your personality that needs to be developed. If you are already a born leader, sorry, leaders can be born also, but the leadership qualities are not such that we cannot acquire them. We can definitely acquire leadership qualities by polishing our communication skills, by polishing the skills of like for influencing the other people. If we are able to polish these skills into ourselves, we will be coming out as better leaders. So a leader is always there who has the ability to inspire the other people. People with good leadership skill will have a range of skills that are useful in workplace, which includes a positive attitude and outlook, the ability to make quick and effective decisions. Yes, leadership, if we talk about leadership, it is not only related to your attitude, it is not only related to your positive outlook, the ability to look into the solutions of the problem. It is also related to quick decisions, because sometimes delay in decisions may lead to losses in the organization. So if you are a good leader, you will definitely come out with different decisions, or you can come out with effective decision in the organization. So exemplary problem solving, conflict management skills, the ability to communicate effectively with others. Leadership is also related to communication with others. That means you are able to put forward your ideas into other people and your idea to influence other people. The aptitude for both self motivating and motivating others. If you are a good leader, if you are a strong leader, there will be ability to motivate others, and you yourself would also be self motivated as a leader. So even if you are applying for an entry level role, don't be afraid to demonstrate your potential by showing how positively influenced others others are to take the project to success. So age is not a very big issue for a leader. So if you are young in age, that doesn't mean that you have a good leadership quality. It is not at all related to your age. It is related to your aptitude, your attitude, that you present yourself in front of the others. Then comes the fourth aspect, that is responsibility. So if I am a good decision maker, or I am a good leader, I am a good say communicator, over there I should also be a good responsibility taker also. Why? Because everything that I speak, every information that I give should be I should be responsible that this responsible is correct to my knowledge. So responsibility is often taken by leaders, and if you are not responsible enough, then in that case what will happen? The people will not trust you. The people may fail to follow you. They may fail to understand your instructions. So you need to demonstrate a very high level of responsibility, so that you can build up trust among people, build up motivation amongst the people. So it definitely leads to mastering of these skills like trustworthiness, discipline, motivation, consciousness, and accountability. So if you are not responsible enough, you are not polishing your skill as a responsible leader, so in that case it will be important that you exhibit trustworthiness. You exhibit, if you want the people to be disciplined, you should be responsible first of all. So for example, if a organization working hour is from 10 to 5, say suppose, and you yourself as a boss, you are reaching office at 10:30, you cannot expect other people to reach at 10 at all. So you yourself should be disciplined enough. You should take responsibility to be disciplined if you want others to be disciplined. Taking responsibility means taking ownership of not only your goals but wider company goals. This will mean taking the initiative to make improvements, accepting responsibility for any failures, and really caring about the working your ways to success. So if you take responsibility, you will be able to you will be able to differentiate various aspects of your problem. You will be able to break your problems into different segments, and if you will be able to break your problem into different segments, it will help out in finding various measures, in finding various solutions to your problem. So this will only come if you take responsibility. On the other hand, suppose you run away from your responsibility, you are just fond of giving instructions to the other people. What will happen in that case? The people will not trust you as a leader. They will think that yes, he just comes and gives instructions, and am I there to listen the instructions only? What will happen if this thing goes wrong? He will not take the responsibility. If this kind of attitude comes into the people or comes into the employees in the organization, this is a very negative, you can say, a sign in the organization. So that is why we talk about Fayol's principle, Fayol's 14 principles of management. We have put responsibility as a very essential principle as given by Fayol. Why? Because with authority, with responsibility, with decision making capability, responsibility should always be attached. Then only your decision will be in a right direction. So if you are not responsible for your decision, so then how will people trust you that your decisions are correct? So you should always develop a habit of taking responsibility of what you are saying, what you are sharing, which information you are sharing with the people. Then comes the next ability, that is teamwork. Now, when we talk about teamwork, we all know that working in groups, working with more than one or two people is a team. Now, working in teams is not always easy because a team consists of members from various specialization areas. There may be conflicts which may be related to knowledge aspects of these people. So it sometimes become difficult for certain people to work with other people who have more of a knowledge issue. So in this type of group, it is important that the members are cooperative enough, they are coordinating their activities, and they are trying, their target should be to accomplish the task, not to criticize, not to just bring out the negative aspects of a problem. So in that case, then only a teamwork will be effective one. Working in a team towards a common goal requires intuition and interpersonal acumen to know when to be a leader and when to be a listener. So now, when we are talking about in a team, to be in a team, over here it is important that the people with whom you are going to coordinate, the people with whom you are going to work, they are your team. Now you should understand their requirements, you should understand their interest areas, and also you should encourage them to bring up different ideas or bring up different suggestions or their problem areas in front of you. Because if you are not listening their problems, the people will not come up with their problems related to that particular project, and ultimately these problems will never be solved in a group. Then definitely your project will not be as effective as you were considering it. So over here, before starting a team, before starting a project in a team or a particular idea in a team, it is important to communicate your ideas in a clear and concise manner. And of course, at the same time, you should encourage people to give their ideas also, so that you can inbuild their ideas into yours and come up with a new kind of idea on which the whole team can work. Good team players are perceptive as well as receptive to the needs and responsibilities of others. Now, perceptive means you are trying to understand what the other is trying to tell. That means whatever the leader is telling, the follower is trying to understand in the same manner as he is telling. Receptive means as you have understood, in the similar way, you have to respond to the needs of the team. That means whatever is required by you as a member of a team, you have to respond in the same manner. Then only an effective team will work. Moving ahead, another capability that is an important aspect of soft skills is your problem solving ability. Now, when we talk about problem solving ability, we have this particular diagram, which is a cyclic diagram, which tells you how to solve problems in an organization. First of all, we need to identify the problem. That means, as a good leader, if I am responsible enough, I will first of all take the responsibility of this particular problem. I will identify the various aspects of the problem, and then I will define what are the exact problem areas of this problem. Then once you have checked out in the problem areas, you need to explore each of these areas with your team. Now, after exploring, you may come up with plan A, you can come up with plan B or plan C. So now over here, you will evaluate each and every plan. Then you will evaluate. Why do we evaluate? We evaluate because we need to check which plan will take how much time and what will be the cost required to pursue each plan. Then accordingly, the plan which will be taking the least of the time and the least of the cost, I will take action on that plan. Then again, once I will take action on that plan, I have to look back. Now, looking back means the feedback. I have to check that if I took the plan A instead of B and C, was this plan able to work for me? Or the next time when the problem arises, should I take the plan B? Now, this will only be done when I define my problem or I explore the different aspects of this problem. This exploration of different aspects will definitely come when you have a when you have a hunger to find information about that problem. Then next is decisiveness. Problem solving is directly related to decisiveness. So say when I have come up with three plans, suppose as an answer to a problem I came up with three plans: plan A, plan B, and plan C. Now I need to understand what on what factors should I evaluate these plans so that I take the decision in a quick and effective manner. This decision can be taken in a quick manner when I will be able to evaluate these three plans on the basis of time and money. It may be on the basis of different external factors, on the factors such as political factors. Then, of course, when I already evaluated these plans and came up with solution. Yeah, yes, this plan A will work for me, and if suppose in sometime plan A doesn't work, I will go with plan B. So this is a kind of decisiveness activity or decisiveness soft skills that you need to possess when you are an entrepreneur, because at each and every moment you should be able to take decisions in time. Delaying in time may lead to losses in the organization. So this decision will again come from accumulation of more and more knowledge of your project. Decisiveness is combined with several other abilities, like the ability to put things into perspective, then weighing the different options, like I said, giving weightage to different plans that I have come up in the problem solving areas. Then, according to the different weightage, maybe prioritizing the plans, I can come up with a solution. So, suppose I have prioritized plan A first, so I will go with plan A, and then I will assess all the relevant information. That means I will keep collecting a pool of information related to that particular problem. Anticipate any consequences, good or bad. Now, with every aspect of the problem, I will continuously jot down the different consequences, the different negative aspects that may come in my way while taking this decision. So you need to enlist these particular good or bad consequences, and in the face of these consequences, what will be your corrective measure that you will be taking. If you are able to come up with correct kind of measure at the correct time, then only you can suppose yourself as a good leader or a good soft skill person. Then the eighth one, ability to work under pressure and time management. Now, this is one of the ability, and these 8 points, I can say it is a exhaustive list. We have many other aspects. It includes motivation. It includes your passion for work. It includes your competency. The eighth one is to work under stress or work under pressure. This is a very important aspect. That is why I have added it over here, because when talking about enterprises or even talking about different jobs, no one of us have experienced a less pressure at any day, and every day comes with more and more pressure. So as an individual, if I am on a job or I am working in an enterprise, I should be able to deal with pressure, and this dealing with pressure can only come when I'm able to manage my time. So if I'm able to manage my time. Managing time doesn't mean keeping a record of all the time. It means that if suppose 10 things have to be done on first day, you need to complete those 10 things on that day itself. This is called as time management. So if you have completed or you have accomplished all these 10 tasks on the same day, you will never be under pressure, because if you complete 8 tasks and you leave 2 tasks for the other day, then of course other day will have again another 10 tasks and plus the 2 tasks that we were having the earlier day. Now for today it will be say 12 tasks, and the other day again you completed only 8 tasks, and again you have left 4 tasks for the next day. Now the next day will again have 14 tasks. By this, on the end of the suppose 5-day task, it is a 5-day task, on the end of the 5th day you are left with 10 tasks again. So you will need an extra day to complete these 10 tasks, right? So never leave your work, never leave tasks undone which you have defined it for that particular day. This is called time management. So if you manage your time very properly, the stress situations can be decreased to a lot more extent. I'm sure I am clear till this point to everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Okay, so over here I have a priority matrix, because sometimes there is a question in our mind. There is a question in our mind that should we go for this action? Should we do it? Should we do it on the next level, or should we don't do it? So for this, I have this priority matrix. This was given by skillsyouneed.com. Now this matrix is very helpful when prioritizing various solutions of a problem, or when we try to prioritize our task for the day. How important is the task, or how urgent is the task? These are the two aspects on which this priority matrix is divided. Now if we see the importance, the more importance, the more urgency. If importance and urgency both is there, do it at the first step. The action should be do it first. So whatever tasks you have for that particular day, you have to prioritize all those tasks at the first place, which are more important and which are most urgent to you. Then if a task is important but the urgency is somewhat low, that means importance is there but urgency is not there, these tasks should be done on the next level after the first to do list, right? Then coming down to the next one, that importance is also less and urgency is also less, but you have to do this task. Then this will be declared in the third column, third box. You can say we have it in green color. It says do it later. That means you have prioritized first order activities, second order activities, and the third order activities. Now there may certainly be some tasks which need not to be that urgent or that important. You can leave those tasks or don't do them at all on that particular day. So I would say this is white in color. I would say don't put any task in this particular box, only because someday if those tasks needs to be done on someday or the other. Suppose I am not doing it today, I have to do it 2 days later or 3 days later, then never put it in this particular box. Try to put it in do next or do later box. Don't do activities should be such that which you never want to do or which you will never be doing in your organization. Then comes the next one, that is flexibility. Flexibility is an important soft skill. It demonstrates the ability or the willingness to embrace new tasks or new challenges and come and without fuss. So flexibility means bringing on taking up different tasks, bringing on more and more ability to adapting yourself to the other people, other ideas of the other people. This is flexibility. So don't be rigid with your own piece of information, rigid with your own piece of knowledge. You should learn, you should listen to other people also, what the other people are saying, and embrace new challenges. Welcome the new challenges, welcome the new tasks that come up on your way, because these tasks will again going to give you more and more experience in your own field. Then comes flexibility. Flexible employees are willing to help out where needed. They take on extra responsibility and can adapt quickly to plan changes. if you are flexible enough, that will be more advantageous to you, because in that case you will be able to take responsibilities for other people also, and you will be able to adapt yourself to different plans. For suppose if the organization has cancelled the plan A and has started pursuing the plan B, you can very easily adapt yourself to these plan B. Then comes employers are looking for candidates who show a willingness to upbeat attitude and who are unfazed by change. More and more people, more and more employers are looking for people who are flexible enough. We can also associate flexibility with multitasking people. That means you are able to adapt yourself, adapt your functions within the organization. You are able to do more than one function, able to perform on more than one processes in the organization. Then comes your last out of top 10 factors that were related to soft skills, that is negotiation and conflict resolution. Negotiation means directly coming to a solution if there is, say, suppose conflict in the ideas or ideology of two people in the organization. Now negotiation can be considered as a midway where both the people come to an agreement to on certain points. Suppose A and B have a conflict on certain issue, they can definitely negotiate on certain factors and come to a conclusion on agreement between each other. So there should always be a skill related to negotiation skill within yourself, because if you are flexible enough, it is not necessary that the people you are meeting, they are also flexible enough. You may get to come along a rigid person who doesn't understand you, who doesn't understand your idea at all. So over here, you need to resolve a conflict that has unforeseenly come in between you and that person. This will only come with your negotiation skill. You will try to persuade the other person. You will try to influence the other person with your thoughts, with your knowledge, and you will try to come out with a more positive approach to a problem, rather than moving on negatively with that person, moving along in a team with that person with a negative attitude. Conflict resolution depends on strong interpersonal skills and ability to establish a rapport between the colleagues and the clients. So, when we talk about conflict resolution, it is directly related to your interpersonal skills. It is related to how you communicate your problem with the others. So, if you are not able to communicate with others, your interpersonal skills, you are not able to share your problems with the others, you will never be able to solve the conflict between you and that person. So, both these skills, negotiation skills as well as the conflict skills, are interrelated, and they are directly related to coming out with solutions, working on solutions rather than exaggerating on problems. At the end, I would like to tell how can one person improve the soft skills. We have discussed soft skills a lot, but how can we improve them in ourselves? Very first one is participate in self reflection. Now reflection means reflect yourself. When person says reflect yourself, that means try to bring out your ideas, try to bring out your information, piece of information, humbly and strongly in front of the other people. Now, if you say self reflection, this will not come until you start reading, until you start learning, until you start accruing more and more knowledge about the topic. If you have enough knowledge, you will be able to reflect your ideas in a very you can say an effective or efficient manner. If you are lacking knowledge, if you are only having superficial kind of knowledge, self reflection is somewhat difficult. Look for our online training. Go in for online trainings if physical trainings are not at all possible. So for example, in this pandemic era, we cannot go for physical trainings. So in this, if I'm lacking in some of the skills, suppose I'm lacking in my MS Word skills, or operating on MS Office, different softwares of MS Office. So for this, I can go for online training. This is just an example. Similarly, suppose I need more and more knowledge about MSME. So I actually for this I can go for reading out various articles present on the internet, or I can attend a seminar like this, or I can attend a class or classroom workshop that is going on the similar topic. So you can go for some of the online trainings if offline trainings are not possible, so as to enrich your information, so as to enlarge your information, and come out with more and more polished skills within yourself. Observe others. Look to others who exemplify the soft skills you want to improve. So, by observing people, by listening to other people, other skilled people, you can definitely bring out changes into yourself. So, keenly observe, keen observation will always lead you to, you can say, endless different qualities that you can inculcate into yourself. Then last is practice, practice, and practice. So because practice makes a man perfect, and so by practicing, these soft skills can be definitely enriched, enhanced within an individual, and with this, we will be able to assimilate our knowledge. We will be able to uh, figure out what we want to say into the what we say want to say to the person in question, and and we will be speaking the same thing as we intend to, right? Then of course, all this will lead to different kind of soft skills like presentation skills, team spirit or team building skills, working in teams, different kinds of leadership, the styles of leadership that comes under the leadership skills. You will be able to handle all the queries related to your customers or your clients or your stakeholders. You will be able to manage your time. You will be able to manage your stress. Whenever we talk about time management, the stress management already comes in. Then comes your job interview skills. It will also enhance your confidence to give your interviews, and ultimately your communication skills. With this, I come to an end of my presentation. I would invite any questions if there are.
Participants, do you have any query? Preeti ma'am, Soma ma'am, any query to all?
No, ma'am, it was a very wonderful session.
Okay. I think Preeti Sambhavi raise a hand.
No, ma'am, no.
Okay. I think no query. Okay, thank you, Garima ma'am. Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
Jyoti
taking a
ma'am.
very knowledgeable and informative session on the topic of soft skill development. Now, thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, participants. Thank you.
Okay. Participants, now quiz time. I am sending a quiz in chat box. Next session I will start at 4:10.
Jyoti ma'am, in case there is no questions, can I leave the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can leave. Garima ma'am, please stop the sharing. Yes. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Good afternoon, Ragini ma'am.
Good afternoon, Jyoti ma'am, and good afternoon to all my dear participants. How are you feeling today? Gradually, thank you, Atira, thank you, Soma. Yeah, so gradually, we have come almost, we have passed almost a week of the program, right? And all kudos to all my dear participants for their patience and patient hearing. Yes, Jyoti ma'am, please take over.
Okay. Ma'am, I will start after 1 minute.
Yes, of course, sure.
Okay. Okay, now I think all participants have done quiz. So move to further. Now I am going to start session 3 on the topic of briefing for market survey questionnaire by Dr. Ragini Johri ma'am. So I would like to again invite Dr. Ragini Johri ma'am for taking a session 3.
Thank you, Jyoti ma'am. And yeah, so we have to do